I'm excited about our next guest, Maarten Van Rossem.
Maarten Van Rossem.
Yeah, and tell me about him.
He's a writer, writes columns. He's like the Dutch Mr. America.
American specialist.
Yeah.
And this is someone that I learned about in Holland when I first came here. And this is someone that I've actually requested, one of my few requests since the show began.
Cool.
Yeah. So I mean, this guy is, you know, he's a cool dude, and he's an American expert, and there's certainly a lot we need to talk about. So let's please welcome to our program, Mr. Maarten Van Rossem. All right. I'm glad you're finally here, sir.
Okay.
What enthusiasm. How did your fascination with America begin?
Actually, my first big impression of the United States was a visit by my American family to the Netherlands in the early 50s. And it turned out that both my little nieces had their own camera. And I thought a country where girls between 11 and 12 years old have their own camera must be the most wonderful country in the world. You probably still are still thinking that. I'm not, but that's what I thought at that particular moment.
Yeah, I know you don't think that anymore.
The United States was a kind of never land with enormous cars and where everybody was rich, and of course I didn't know about all the problems of the United States because you never heard about the problems of the United States. They started actually in November '63 in a way.
With the assassination of John Kennedy.
Yeah.
But on Dutch television, and that's how I know you, is that you're always portrayed as the American specialist.
Right.
And when they cart you out, that's, you know, the trumpets that they're blowing. So I want to ask you some questions, get your opinion about my people. First of all, what are the first two lines, including the melody, of the national anthem of the United States?
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
Have no idea.
You don't know the American anthem?
No.
Come on, everybody knows that.
Yeah,
I could pick anyone out of the crowd, I bet you they would do it. You don't know?
I dislike national anthems.
Yeah?
Yeah. I dislike our own national anthem. I dislike the whole atmosphere created by the singing and playing of national anthems.
Yeah.
That should be a thing that should be forbidden as soon as possible.
Okay, we need to bring out our bikini girl to keep score. Please welcome to our show, the Bikini Girl. Bikini Girl, welcome. Maarten, we know how much you like Bikini Girls, so she's going to keep score, and you got a 0 on the first point. So, all right, we want this girl to light up the studio with your correct answers. So now, question number 2. Which number president is George Bush?
What?
What number president is George Bush?
That's quite a question, because some say it's the 43rd president, but actually it's the 42nd president.
Yes, sir. Correct. Flip, give him a yay. Ta-da.
It's interesting to explain why that is the case.
Why is that the case?
That is the case because Cleveland, who was president in the late 19th century, was president in two different terms.
Yeah.
So not on consecutive terms, but on 2 different terms. And that's why they count him for 2.
He was president, and then another guy became president, and then he became president again.
Yeah.
Who is the American rapper who won 3 MTV Europe awards lately?
I'm not into youth or child music at all.
Not at all?
No.
That was Eminem. You don't like Eminem?
Child music.
Child music.
Most popular music is child music.
What kind of music? What kind of music do you like? What kind of music do you like?
Mainly classical, and to some extent a very limited part of the popular music of my own youth. I still like the Beatles, but I also dislike all these middle-aged persons saying, oh, the wonderful music of my youth. I mean, it's a particular phase of your life, and then it should stop, and you should change over to classical music, which is much more complicated, much more interesting, much more moving. So, I'm 59. I'm preparing for death.
You're preparing for death. It's almost over for you, isn't it?
That's it.
Oh, Maarten. Oh, buddy, let me give you a hug, okay?
That is why...
That's...
May I? May I say something about hugging?
Yes, sir. Say something about hugging.
Yeah, because I think hugging is one of the most terrible export products of the United States.
And I'm a hugger.
Yeah.
I'm a hugger.
I dislike hugging
Really?
immensely. You must have felt how
I did feel that.
I was not really.
Well, you seem like a guy who needs a hug. That's why I wanted to hug you.
And I think I quite like President Clinton.
Yeah.
But this hugging was really ridiculous. Did you see him hugging Arafat, who
Yes.
didn't know what he should do? So that's the only positive point about the present president, that he doesn't seem to me to be a
Bush
great
is not a hugger, not at all.
No.
Okay, let me ask you, which famous American said the historic words, "Ik ben in Amsterdam"?
That must be you.
That is me,
probably.
baby. Yeah, give him another point, bikini girl. All right. Now, you've got this, look how cheerful you are on the cover of that book.
The great problem was, should we have W on the cover or me? And then in the end we decided that me was better.
You was definitely better. You was definitely better. And in your new book, you talk about my president. What do you think of George Bush?
I think his biggest drawback is that he is a very limited and provincial person. He comes from Texas.
Yeah.
And Texas is provincial within a provincial country, because the United States is so big and so important. There's no good reason for looking out, for being extroverted. It's a very introverted country, especially if you leave the coastal areas. It becomes very introverted. That's probably the reason that you're in Amsterdam. I mean, anybody with an outgoing mind has to leave on a certain point of his life the United States.
Definitely,
and Texas is very provincial. And George Bush, although he is the most important politician in the world, is not interested in the world at all.
Not at all.
That is by far his most negative point.
Maarten, do you ever spin around in a field full of flowers, happy as a child? You ever do that? Hey, I'm so happy. You ever do that? No?
Why should I do that?
Because it might be fun and happy.
I know lots of things that I think quite attractive. Probably you get a completely wrong impression from me.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, are you fun in any way?
Well,
No, I mean, I don't mean that. I mean, you seem very serious, very business-minded.
Yeah.
You seem very Dutch, actually.
You could smile a bit more, you know.
No, come on. Does that look like a happy guy?
I think so, yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I think so.
That you on a good day?
Well, I'm thinking about important things, and that makes me happy.
True.
Why should people always be smiling and over the top and slightly hysterical? That's one of the worst points of our civilization.
That gets on your nerves, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does. All this overblown smiling stuff.
And that's
all these people, don't you have these acquaintances that are always happy and tend to be the most boring people you've ever seen in your life? Always happy on Monday, happy on Sunday. I mean, people need a good dose of unhappiness to be fully rounded personalities.
But still, a smile wouldn't hurt.
Well,
just a little smile, you know.
Probably it would hurt me.
But now let me ask you, because your book is America, the Pros and the Cons, and we've heard a lot of cons today. What's something pro about America that you could tell us before you go?
It's a wonderful country. When it comes to intellectual life, to scientific life, it's the most wonderful, most vital country in the world. There's no country with such a vital discussion about political issues as the United States. And anything, the top of anything can be found in the United States of America.
America's always entertaining. And you are always entertaining, sir, every time I see you, and I thank you for being here. Everyone give Maarten Van Rossem a big round of applause.